Hello, my name's Julia, and I've been talking about various ways of being so that we can truly enjoy who we are, enjoy living this life, doing what we want, dealing with anxiety and the distress and stress and all the things that can arise. I work in the lives of others. I have done for many years, coaching them and delving into the places where they're in pain and stuck and where that's come from, so that they can free themselves to express who they truly are and their true nature and be free of these feelings of anxiety and pain and all the things that limit the joy of living. And I was reflecting that this week I've been talking a lot with people who feel incredibly overwhelmed. They might enjoy their job, they might enjoy their life where there's lots happening. It isn't about not liking their job or not enjoying their social life or their family life or their hobbies, but not having any space. There being a relentless feeling of the pace never stopping, and then this overwhelm. And I live in London, and I work with lots of people who are in the noisy city, and everything's around them, all the noise and the excitement, as well as the pressures of everyday life. And so I thought I would investigate more in this video about how to work through those feelings of overwhelm in this noisy world. Now, of course, I'm saying London, but the noisy world isn't necessarily the external noise of traffic and things to do and people and everything going at a fast pace. The noise essentially is within us. The noise is our mind. The noise is that chatter, that relentless chatter of things to do and ruminating over what we could have done or what didn't happen or what went wrong, and agonizing and being anxious about what's ahead and is it going to be okay and are we going to do it well enough, and going over conversations that we've had with people and waking up in the night with the mind racing, thinking of all the things that are needed to be done. And that can happen in the midst of a busy city, or it can happen in a quiet country village with lots and lots of things still going on in your life that are feeling overwhelming. So how do we manage those feelings of overwhelm? How do we create the space to feel that we can really enjoy this moment, this day? It is always an inside out journey. Now, it doesn't mean that the inside process or the inner awareness doesn't then need to lead to actions, because essentially the things that we believe will be leading our thoughts, and then our thoughts do create the actions. But of course the beliefs are tangled up with feelings, about how we need to be in the world, to be accepted, to be loved, to succeed, and these can come from very deep inside. So it's important to recognize that a feeling of overwhelm is just that. It is actually the body, and then the feeling is coupled with lots of narratives and beliefs. So it's important to recognize how to press pause, be able to notice what we're feeling. So from a practical perspective, for a very short video that I'm giving you now, one of the things to do is to work with taking that breath, because really and truly, if we, presence is talked about a lot, and it's very healing for us to be where we are. But presence is essentially that awareness of now. And the breath can help us to anchor the mind and bring us into the body. And therefore, really and truly, it's useful to start the day and finish the day with some quietness, some meditation time where we can access that place within us that isn't dictated by the mind. And that can be done through the breath, through breathing deep into the tummy and then breathing out, and then finding that space, because there is space in the breath and there is space in us. Now, I would encourage you to sit quietly every morning and every evening for 10 to 20 minutes and just watch the breath. Watch the in-breath, watch the out-breath, and then watch that for that space at the bottom of the out-breath. And that stillness and that silence. And know that space is within you always. It's a place inside you that's always still and always calm, whatever's going on in the outer realms. Now, as I say this, I'm also aware that a lot of people don't have time to do that. And I've worked with people for long enough to know that I can encourage some breath work morning and evening and nothing happens at all. However distressed and overwhelmed and kind of anxious somebody is, and sometimes they just literally can't do it. And that's why I like working with people, because I really know that I can suggest that and it might not happen. So I will suggest that, because that practice morning and evening, what it can do is have you access that space, which means throughout the day you can take a big deep breath in into the tummy, breathe out either through the mouth or the nose, and then there's a space now where I'm not breathing. Stillness, quietness, expansiveness, and then we breathe in. And that space gives your mind a rest. And now, assuming you're not going to be doing the morning and evening ones and you're too busy, which, as I say, is often the case, instead, practice that breath throughout the day, every so often. Even put an alarm on once an hour, but find that space. Because the more you practice and the more you, every single day for, a month or something, you literally found that space in the breath. That's somewhere to go to always. When in the body you're feeling the overwhelm arise, the feeling of, oh God, it's too much, my to-do list is too long, and when am I going to do all these things? And you've been asked to do something else by your colleagues or your family, or you've got lots of birthday presents you've got to buy, and you've got to get here and you've got to get there, and all of the things of the busyness of life. Now, those things might not change, but what can change is how we are within all of that. So if you can be practicing that breath, it's such a simple thing. And what that does is it just gives a pause in the narrative. It gives a pause where you can have a space, and there it all is, we're here. And the mind might still be going, but it's a starting point to just feel a little bit of ease. And you can do it wherever you are. You do it, if you're trying to get somewhere on time, if you're, finding that you're racing to finish a report, take a breath. It's so simple, but it's so effective. And what that does, as I said, is anchor the mind so that you can start a process of being able to know that you're the master of the mind, and that actually the body gets under distress and anxiety and overwhelm and tension. They're all in the body, but our mind then feeds that. So if we can work at both positions, so you can use the breath to just find the space, and in that space notice how you're moving, what's going on in the body, notice how you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you're breathing. Really, you start to create awareness, and it is awareness that can bring us into the present. You can still be planning things and knowing that you've got to write things on your to-do list, or you've got to get somewhere, or do all manner of things, but you can do it from with awareness and being present, and you can start to practice disciplining your mind and knowing that you're not your mind, and all those thoughts, what they can do is contribute to the tension in the body. So the breath is really, really important and such a useful thing. But then coupled with that is disciplining the mind not to just be racing off on its own. And as you get used to finding the space in the breath, you can start to find, therefore, space in the thoughts, because the mind's job is to think, and so it likes to do it. But if you can find space in it, you will find space within yourself and space within the overwhelm and space within the anxiety. And then it's easier to watch the thoughts as they go by. And actually then you can also change the narrative and make it something simple. And I say this many times to people, just going, I am where I am. It's good, it's okay. And bringing yourself here and now, and I am who I am, it's enough. Because as I said in another video, a lot of anxiety and overwhelm is caused from deep beliefs. This is where I mentioned at the beginning, it's good to gradually investigate what we are believing, because the belief that we're somehow not good enough, or we're wrong, or we've got to sort of earn our place, can create a lot of the pressure and the push. And that's where, at a deeper level, starting to investigate our beliefs is really useful as a kind of upheaving anything that any of the tension is based on. But if we start to say, I am who I am, it's enough, that is very restful. That coupled with the breath and I am where I am, it's okay. It means that whether you're in the middle of some crisis, or you're in the middle of something difficult, or things are feeling, overwhelming, you're not going to be feeding it with a negative narrative. You are going to at least know that you are here and now. And also you can say, I don't know how, but I know this is going to work out, or I know this is working out. Now, it may be a completely not feel like that at all, but it's much more powerful and helpful to reassure and assure our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is very receptive and very obedient, and it acts on whatever we give it. It receives and it acts. We are living our life out from the subconscious mind. So therefore, to reprogram ourselves and to learn to be able to be still and at ease within the noisiness of life, wherever we are, means that, we start to be free. But we do need to know that that's where we need to take the actions. We do need to start feeding the subconscious mind something that it can receive and act on. So if we're, instead of feeding it all the, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and this is, all the frightened things, instead we go, nice breath, I am where I am, it's okay. I am who I am, it's enough. I don't know how, but I know it's all working out. I'll deal with it. That's a good one. I'll deal with it. All is well. The subconscious mind will hear that. The body relaxes and magic starts to happen, because the reflection back from our energy will start to have, unusual and supportive things happening. And I know that I do recognise people who are going, well, you don't know what my situation's like. It's horrendous. It's terrible. That would never work. It's worth trying. It's worth just seeing. It's worth at least giving yourself that space. And it's very simple. And that's it's nothing you actually have to go out and do. You go in and do it. And what starts to happen is you can retrain the brain, you can relax the body, and you start to discover that in the midst of everything going on around you, you've still got that stillness. You still can feel that stillness inside you. And I speak from experience. I've trained myself over years and years and years, and I've worked in people's lives for 48 years, since I was 18, first in health and fitness, and it led into training in psychotherapy, and I'm a coach. I was a coach for sport, advanced mental training for sport, moved into working in systemic psychotherapy and relationship relationship therapy, and I've worked with people forever. But in my own life, I've learned to be still within it all, within everything people are bringing to me. I've learned to be still within my own life's journey, with all the things that have gone on. We've all had things in our life. I've learned that there's a still place inside us, and I knew that from the very beginning, in that I was brought up in a family that was very Christian and went to church, and the teachings of all of that are very valid for me. I don't practice as a practicing Christian now, but all of the teachings I found were very, or they were relevant and resonant with all teachings, that there is a still small space within us, or a still big space, that the stillness is within us, and it's there always, and we can access it and be it and feel it at all times, and then we can actually work through everything, and we can also from that place know when we need to take actions. We need to take time off, take a holiday, create more space for ourselves in actual terms, stretch out of an adaptation of always taking on more, and ask somebody for help. You know, we can learn new skills out of that place of calm, because we can recognize that it's coming from a deeper belief that we've somehow always got to be the person perhaps that never says no and always says yes and always helps people, and we can start to see that that's coming from a belief that isn't working for us. So that's a short video with just some ideas to help you start to go into a place of greater stillness and be able to deal with the feelings of overwhelm that come up within this noisy world.